Well, I'm starting this hike video at the end of my hike instead of the beginning because I went ahead and hiked a trail that I knew there was going to be people on, and I didn't want to get caught recording. So I decided I would just do a short recap of my hike, just because I feel like I need to post something for each one that I do since I'm tracking them. And I did take a few shots of scenery, so I'll try to put those in. But I knew I wanted to do this Hillsboro Peak today. I realized that I need to start getting some more challenging hikes. After I did that Reb Park one that had like 831 feet of elevation gain, I was like, I need to do that more often. I need to do some more challenging hikes. So I'm kind of, my plan is right now is to do an easy hike and then a harder hike, and then an easy hike and then a harder hike. And I'll kind of do that for a while, and see how I do. But I feel like I did good today. My hike says I only did like 4.73 miles. It's been doing that like on all of my hikes recently, where I'll go up until it says I'm at 2.5 miles, and then I turn around and I come back the exact same way. I don't take any detours or anything. Come back the exact same way, and it'll be like 4.6, 4.7. So I don't know. That's just an issue with the GPS. I decided I'm not going to worry about it. If I'm not actually doing a 5-mile hike, I'm not going to stress that much about 0.2 of a mile or 0.3 of a mile. As long as I just keep sticking with this program and just keep building up the mileage, like, it'll be fine. But today was a challenge for me. And I knew it was going to be. I knew I was going to come up here and there would be people here. And I've been thinking that I need to work on, not letting that scare me, but realizing that, like, I have to share the trails. I can't be worried about hiking a trail just because somebody else is on it, because I'm just going to miss out on a lot of hikes if I'm doing that. And so I just need to challenge myself to just do it. So all the way up here, I was telling myself, if there's people here, I'm still going to hike. If there's people here, I'm still going to hike. And although I did for a minute, I did start thinking, well, what if I don't feel comfortable? What should I do then? And I didn't want to go very far. Like, that was the thing. I didn't want to drive very far. So I was like, no, I need to try to do this hike. So I got up here. I got in the parking lot, and there were 3 cars. A sedan, an SUV, and a truck. And I was like, oh shit, 3? That's a lot. And I was thinking to myself as I was on my hike, I kept thinking to myself, I was like, you have like hiker privilege, because there's a lot of places that people go to hike where there's like 20 cars in the parking lot. So you're very lucky to only have 3. But, but I was like, 3, I don't know about that. So I went and used the bathroom. And when I came out, another vehicle pulled up. Just somebody coming. Oh yeah, there is somebody coming. Okay, I had to move to another spot. I don't remember exactly where I was at in my story. Oh, I used the bathroom. I came out, and another car pulled in, but the truck started leaving. So somebody was in the truck, which I hadn't noticed. So I was like, okay, the truck is leaving. So there's actually only 2 people, or 2 vehicles with people out on the hiking trail right now. And then the car that pulled up, like, they looked like they were just tourists. They were like taking pictures and stuff. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to do it. Like, 2 cars, that's fine. At most, 4 to 6 people maybe in 2 groups, that's fine. So I went ahead and I started getting changed into my gear and everything, getting loaded up. And, I got everything on. I got my hat on, my sunglasses on, I got my backpack on, I got my hiking poles, I got everything. I lock up my car, and I start heading towards the hiking trail, and I hear, "Excuse me." I'm like, what in the fuck? It's one of the reasons why I hate going to that hiking trail when there's people there. They always want to talk. Like, I cannot tell you how many times I've gone up there to hike, And if there's people in the parking lot when I'm getting ready to hike, they want to talk to me. And it's just weird to me. Like, why can't we just let people be? Anyway, so he's, excuse me. So, yeah, I wanted to just keep walking, but I stopped and I turned and I looked at him and he's like, and he goes, do you know if there are any hiking trails around here? And I couldn't help myself. I looked at him like I got my hiking poles, I got my backpack on, and I looked at him and I went, no. And he's like, oh, okay. He starts to turn around. And then I started laughing. I was like, I'm joking. And I hold up my trekking poles. I'm like, obviously, like there are trails around here. So I started to, I think that kind of broke the ice for me. Like me making a joke and him not getting it. Like kind of broke the ice for me. And so I ended up gave him a rundown of all the trails. I mean, when you asked me about hiking trails, like you're going to get an earful. So I told him about all the trails. I told him the one I was going on, 2 more down here. There's one over here. Just drive along this highway. Look for the signs of the people hiking. That's where there's hiking trails all over the place. And he's like, okay, thanks. So I left and I started hiking on the trail. And I'm going along. And of course, this one starts out just like with this crazy steep climb. So I'm having to stop and catch my breath like immediately. And I could hear them talking. And it was 2 Indian guys. I could hear them talking. And I was like, well, they're down in the parking lot talking, yeah. And I go a little bit further, and I still hear them talking. I go a little bit further, and I'm stopping and taking a break, and I turn around and look, and they're coming up behind me. And these guys are not, like, they are in jeans and t-shirts. They do not have a backpack. They are not carrying water bottles. They're carrying nothing. Like maybe they had their cell phones on them and that was it. In a pocket. But that was it. Like they're carrying nothing. And they're coming up behind me. And I'm like, fuck. So I went ahead. So I walked a little bit further. And then I was like, okay, I got to a part where the trail kind of widened. And I was like, I'm just going to step off to the side, sit here and drink water and let them go by. So I did that. And they walked by and they're saying hi as they walk by. And I just kind of waved. And they walked on up the trail and I would not start walking again until they were gone. I was like, I don't mind telling you where the trails are, but I'm not hiking with you. I'm hiking by myself. So I waited until they moved on and then I started hiking again. And I went like almost a mile. And I would see them like up ahead of me every once in a while. And I was like, how far are they going to go without water? Like, I don't know. Because I thought maybe they were just looking for like a view or something. But they just kept going. So I get almost a mile in and I can hear like voices up above me because I was on a section of the trail where there's switchbacks. So I could hear people talking up above me. And at first I was like, oh, it's probably a couple. I mean, because I heard a woman's voice and a man's voice. So I was like, oh, it's probably a couple and they're probably coming back. That's one of the cars that I saw. So I start, preparing myself to meet somebody and make sure I can find a spot to get out. Because it's not an easy trail to like get off of and make room for people. But, I started preparing myself to meet somebody. Well, it got quiet. Like they weren't talking anymore. And I was like, oh, okay, that's weird. Because I was thinking, I'd hear them talking. And that's how I'd know they were coming. But they weren't talking anymore. And I was just like, okay. So I'm just kind of trying to keep an eye out. And all of a sudden, like, I get to this spot where there's like, I'm coming up to a corner. And all of a sudden there's a dog. And I was like, oh. And there's a woman with the dog. She's got him on a leash and everything. And she was startled. She's like, oh. And I started laughing immediately. I was like, because I told her, I was like, I knew somebody was coming. I could hear you talking. I was like, and I still got startled. And then she was telling me, she was like, well, her dog, she's like, he alerted me. She's like, I just met 2 other men on the trail. So that's who she was talking to, the Indian men. She's like, I just met 2 men on the trail and the dog alerted her, but she was like, he didn't alert me that you were coming. So I had no idea I was about to run into somebody. So it was funny, and she walked by, the dog came over. She's like, he is friendly. And I was like, yeah, it's fine. He's on a leash. I don't care if they're on a leash. It's fine. So the dog came over to me. So I went ahead and petted the dog and everything. And then she said, have a good trip. I said, have a good trip. And she walked off. So And I was like, okay, there's one person down. I still got the 2 Indian men who are going to be turning around soon. And then whoever's in the other car. So I'm like, okay, I'm doing good. I've had good interactions so far. nothing bad. It's okay. This is a good social walk for me. So I get like another half a mile or so, and I see the 2 Indian men coming back. They had turned around finally, and they had picked up some sticks, and they were using them to walk. So I was like, I said, oh, you guys found some sticks? And they kind of laughed and were like, yeah. And then the one asked me like how far from the parking lot we were. He was wanting to know, like, you know, what, I think he was trying to figure out like how much distance they had walked. So I pulled my phone out and looked, and I told him it was 1.42 miles, and he's like, okay. And they left. So I was like, okay, cool. I got 2 people down. There's just one more person out here on these trails that I might run into, or a couple, or however many. It was just a little sit down, so probably didn't have too many people. I'm sure it's probably just 1 or 2. But so I keep walking, and I get to the 2.5 mile mark. I make it to my goal, and I haven't met anybody. Well, this is my view at 2.5 miles in. So I'm like, okay, well, that's good, you know. So probably they went, you know, obviously they went a lot further than me, but there's still a chance that they might come up behind me, because I am a slow walker. So there's still a chance they might come up behind me as I'm heading back. So, and I sat and took a break for a while. I was really hungry, so I took a pretty good break and ate, and then headed back down and never saw them. So they probably went all the way to the top, and they must have started like not too long before I did or something. But I was like, okay, well, this was good. Like, this was a really good lesson for me. Shows me that, like, never mind. Like, even if you do meet people on trail, they're not going to want to stand and talk either, probably. They just want to be out there by themselves too. So it's okay. And number 2, sometimes when there's a car there, you're not even going to see the person because they're going further than you are. So it was a really good day for me. I'm glad that I did it. And hopefully I can, you know, carry this forward, and not, because I really want to, I'd like to plan my hikes, you know, especially now that I'm getting into the bigger miles. Like, I'd really like to plan where I'm going and not get turned away because there's a car there or something. So we'll see. Now, my next hike I want to do, I want to go back to the CDT and do the north section from Highway 52 or 59, whichever highway that is. 59, I think it's 59. And because that will be, I'll get to see a new section of trail, because I've only gone 2 miles down on that one. So that'll be exciting. Now this one, I have hiked 3 miles in on this one. So I've done 6 miles round trip on this trail before. So I didn't see anything new today. But eventually I will. So yeah, I think that's it. Like, it was a good day, good hike. I also, like, another reason that I didn't film any scenery is it was incredibly windy today. Or I didn't film any scenery. I didn't film myself talking. It was just incredibly windy today. So, like, which was nice because it was hot. Like, it was hot up there, but the wind was very cool. So every time the wind blew, like, I got cooled down really well. I don't know if I could have done the whole 2.5 miles if there hadn't been a breeze. Yeah, which is also something that might play into what I'm able to do in the future. We are almost into June now, so. But we will have monsoon season, and temperatures do come down in monsoon season, so. I'll just do the best I can to get some hikes in. I'm playing with the idea of setting an alarm and getting up early. I don't like alarms. I don't do alarms. I don't have to do alarms because of my job. It allows me to go in later. And I don't want to do alarms, but I might have to do alarms. It might be the only way for me to keep hiking during the summer, is to get out really early. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Yeah, but okay. Yeah, I think that's it. Other than that, like, the hike was great. I did get really tired from, like, the 2 mile to 2.5 mile mark. That was like the hardest part of the trail for me. Once I hit 2.5 miles and I was able to go and turn around and come back down, like it was much better. But 2 to 2.5 miles was definitely a struggle. But other than that, I had a great time. So looking forward to next week. Okay, thanks for watching. Bye.